usually right around this time. The Top 5 at 5 brought to you, as always, by our friends at Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
The birthday boy is in studio with us. Lou Nanne, kind enough to join us. We're going to get into a lot of good hockey conversation this half hour. Louis joining us a little earlier than usual. I am superstitious enough, Louis, that before this show is done, I am going to send out a tweet that I usually send before the show with the guest lineup, because I feel like I'm not as superstitious as you are, but I just feel like it's bad karma, because I always send one out, and today I got behind, and I didn't. So I vow, even once the show begins, to do it even after the fact. I don't even care if I get to 6 o'clock, I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, you should.
I learned that from you.
Yeah, because it makes your mind feel at ease. It's something you're done, over the years, all the time. That's what it is. It's not really superstition. It's, as you said, the karma. You want to keep things up
like
they always were. Yeah.
And you go with it. You don't apologize to anybody, correct?
No, that's that's the way you operate, and that's what you do.
All right, I'm going to try to get the text line rebooted here. That thing is malfunctioning on me too. But I'll give you this toss-up question in the meantime. Here we've got Stanley Cup Finals on the Fan starting tonight. Give me your winner. Give me what kind of series you expect.
Well, it's really tough to give you my winner, because I going back and forth for the last few days. I love the physicality and the knowledge and the experience, and especially the fact that Vegas has got Eichel, Marmer, and Stone, which I think that there's no way that Carolina's got better players than those three. And Stone, even though he's slow. But then I look at the other side, and I look at the speed they got, the mobility that they've got, the pressure that they put on you. And even though Carolina, isn't as experienced, they just seem to be in a run, 12-1 now. They just seem to be, the team of destiny. Now, both goaltenders are playing extremely well. Although Anderson for Carolina is a little bit better and much more experienced than Carter is for Vegas. I think if I'm pushed, I'm probably I want to go with Carolina, because it just seems like they're a year, and I'm having a tough time because I just think that those three guys for Vegas could make such a difference, and I think it's going to go 6 for sure, maybe 7. And I think that at the end of the day, it might be I'm going to say this, I changed my mind so many times, but it's going to be Vegas' experience and ability of those three guys to make a difference in a game, even though right now, you look at Carolina, their top line has finally got on the board, finally scoring. But when you look at the center ice down the middle for Vegas, they got Carlson back, who's a great all-around player, especially defensive player. Their center ice, he's so good they moved Howden to the wing, and Howden's got 10 goals on the wing, because they got Sissons in there too, and Dowd, who's a good checker. So I got to give the center ice balance to Vegas, because Eichel is one of the best players in the world. And I just think, and they did handle faster teams, even though, Makar was missing and McKinnon was missing, but the teams they played were all quicker than they were, and they beat them all. So I think Vegas might pull it out.
That's excellent analysis. Can you help us understand the Tortorella phenomenon? I mean, because that in of itself is a hell of a story to me.
It is. Well, Tortorella won a Stanley Cup years ago with Tampa. By the way, I think he still does. He must have married a girl from Wisconsin, because he's up at Luck, Wisconsin, a year.
Oh, is that right?
In the summer, yeah, quite a bit. So he's almost a local. But he was one of the most hilarious guys to watch get interviewed, because he was really tough and belligerent. I mean,
yes.
And he sort of mellowed as it keeps going along. As we all do when you get older. It's funny how your personality changes. You'll still retain some biting bits, but it changes. And he's learned to adapt more. And I think what really helped him get this job was the fact that he was part of Billy Guerin's coaching staff with the Olympic team. And the Olympic players really related well to him. And he's got so much knowledge and experience that when Vegas, who moved 9 games to go in a year, he's surprising everybody and fire a Stanley Cup winning coach for them that's been with them 4 years.
Can't make it up.
No. But he was able to come in and adjust, and he was smart enough to know he had an experienced team and didn't try to change everything. He listened. As he says in his own words, he listened to everybody and talked to the players, and he's learning from the players as much as they're learning from him. And so he fit in there way more seamlessly than he ever would have been able to 5 years ago. And it's a different John Tortorella, but he still maintains the knowledge of the game. But his personality changed. The way he was able to get the players together. And Eichel was at that team too, which is a big thing because Eichel is the leader of that team, and he really liked him there too. So I'm sure he quieted all the concerns that anybody might have been having when they first named him.
So is the rap on him that there's a good chance he'll give you a boost. There's a good chance if you need to shock people, he'll shock them, but that it can't last, that because of the approach he's tended to take, that it's short term, that you just go in knowing he ain't going to be here 5 years because everything's going to blow up before then. Is that fair, or do you think he's changed even within that?
I think he's changed even within that.
Yeah.
I have to say this. I don't think the John Tortorella we see today, I might be wrong, and maybe to maintain his pride and something he might say right away, oh no, I'd do it again. But I don't think he'd be the same guy that takes Bobby Brink coming for his first game in Minnesota with Philadelphia against the Wild and sits him down and doesn't dress him. I don't think he has those same stone type feelings.
Right.
And some people would have, and he had them, and some people don't have. But, you still have to live with the result afterwards. And the guy's got to accept what you're doing because you're a coach, but will he go to bat for you when push comes to shove? So I think that we all change as we get older. We all mellow as we get older. But he maintained one thing, and that's his knowledge of the game and his knowledge of handling people. And I think he's benefited by it big time. So
is the feeling on him historically that he's a handful, and you got to realize that if you hire him, but that technically he's brilliant, or is it a feeling that he can push player buttons brilliantly? What at his best is supposed has historically allegedly been his strength that keeps people saying I'll take a shot with him? I'd
have to say it's push buttons properly, because let's face it, how could you be technically that much more brilliant than everybody in the game? All these coaches are technically really smart, really good. They get that opportunity, and they all have a good feel for the game and a great knowledge of the game. But it's still handling people and realizing strengths and weaknesses. When I can play this guy, when I can't play this guy, who I can play him against, and how can I get the most out of him? When can I get the most out of him? What pushes his button to drive him? What really motivates the guy to different levels? And they made a goalie change too, didn't they? Yeah, well, and they don't want to talk about it because their goaltender had that. He was involved in that Canadian lawsuit with the juniors at the time, which their goaltender was one, so they didn't want to talk about it, and I understand that that's the right thing to do, It's gone, it's over, leave the kid alone. So he essentially came in, I don't know, I want to say about 30 games maybe to go or something. Right. And he's proven to be what they needed. I think, I can't remember now, I think they might have got him this year from Philadelphia because he was a Philadelphia draft choice before that.
507 guy's got a bunch of questions on your birthday. Luigi, what does Billy G need to do in order for Minnesota to capture its first NHL Stanley Cup? What is your favorite city in the NHL to watch a hockey game? Which fan base is the hardest to satisfy? So those are, I guess, three all interesting questions. He says, thanks, Louie, and happy birthday to the grandfather of Minnesota hockey. So where do you want to begin?
Well, Billy G, I don't have to tell him. He knows his job so well right now. I can't improve on him, right? But he knows the holes that he has. He's going to try and fill them. He's done a wonderful job here. He's been a godsend, I think, to the Wild fan base because he's competitive as hell, and he's got the big brass ones that are bigger than a boxcar, and he's not afraid to make moves, and I love that in him. He has no fear. He's fearless. I love it. I think for me, far and away, the Montreal's got to be the situation.
I thought you'd say, yeah.
To play a game, to watch a game, the atmosphere in that building, the knowledge of that hockey fan base is incredible. And one that, what was the last question about?
Last one, which fan base is the hardest to satisfy?
I think it's really got to be Toronto. And, and especially now, not winning since 1967. Yeah. But they almost seem, because Toronto's like the capital of Canada and the hub around which everything evolves, and they just, they're just very demanding.
What was the most memorable thing about the Montreal Forum, would you say?
I think it's just the electricity in the building, the way the fans are, and especially when I was fortunate enough to play, it was in the older building, and you're sitting right beside a spectator, a fan. His seat, there was no such separation that you see today in the benches and stuff like that.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And you're sitting right there with them, and you feel their passion. It's just incredible. It just rumbles through the crowd. It's just amazing how they feel. And you stand there and you sit there and you're playing a game, and the guys behind you are yelling and screaming in your ear and stuff like that. It's just a fan base that loves the game, appreciates the game, and even when you're the other team doing something good, they realize it, and they, in essence, congratulate you for it. I just used to love playing there. I couldn't wait to get on the ice. It was crazy. It just
great to watch on TV.
It was great to be part of.
Yeah, for sure. Brant writes, since Louis texts and talks with Bettman more than people know, has he let Bettman know his playoff format needs fixing, and so does his point system? Vegas Knights lost more games than they won and won their division with a below 500 record.
I'd like to tell the gentleman I would never go and suggest that, and the reason why, one thing you learn when you walk in a room with Gary Bettman, he's the smartest guy in the room. The guy, he is a brilliant man.
And he'll tell you it, too.
Well, whether he tells you or not, I appreciate what he's done for the league. From when he came in 93.
Yeah, it's stunning.
And to look at the revenues and the franchise values and the expansion and what he's done. A lot of people, all the cities, they always hate the commissioners. But I want to tell you who loves the commissioners are the owners, because their bank accounts have gone up substantially. And who else loves it are the fans, because he's expanded the game throughout the United States. And it's, those markets that never had hockey that got it, they of course are very happy to have it, and they've benefited from it. And the others, they benefit from what he's done to even the players. Look at how much more money they're making. I don't think that, and I understand why he's doing that. So I have to tell you, at the time when we first did that kind of thing, it was Bill Wirtz, and he was the one that drove it, that says people love to hate another team. And the way you make another team is make them play all the time. make them play against each other. They'll hate each other, and that's what happened. And that's why we got the rivalry with Chicago the way we did. We had it with St. Louis first, but never as intense as it got with Chicago. And for years after, even though Wild were here and the North Stars were gone, people were still, love
they still
the
talk
fact
about
that
it.
North Stars in Chicago and the kind of rivalries they had.
763 guy wants to run this theory by you. Does Carolina lacking quote-unquote superstar power provide a recipe for future teams going forward? Because a lot of people are arguing that teams cannot win with one guy making $18 million. He says he's not sure he agrees with that. But do you like the fact that maybe they're showing a different way to – do they represent a different way to get it done?
No, I think that, a lot of teams realize that they're not all going to have a superstar, the McDavid, Eichel, Kaprizov type, and so they got to get it done different ways. And that's why when everybody keeps harping about number one centerman, when you look at Carolina, their number one center is Aho, and he finally got on the scoring board in the last series, the second last game. I mean, it's not always the number one centerman that does it. And if you look at the driving force behind Vegas's last cup, and one of the driving forces in their jaunt to the cup this year, it's Mark Stone. He's not a centerman. But I remember when Mark Stone got dealt to Vegas. I can't remember where I was. I might have been in Vegas, and I was with George McPhee about a week after he dealt him. And George McPhee was the general manager. He's president now. And I'll never forget, he says, Louis, I got to tell you why we wanted Stone. He says, all our analytics, everything we look at, he's not good. He's the number one forward in the league by their books. Even though he wasn't a fast skater, what he's done. And sure enough, he led him to the cup. Yeah. So there's many things that are, can get you there, but you got to find the right combination.
Let's finish with a number of good texts that have come in here. As the fellow Italian American and a hockey fan, I feel a sense of brotherhood with Louis. My dad played hockey in Minneapolis in the 40s when there was one indoor rink, Parade Ice Garden, and he was my hero, tough as nails and as gentle as a butterfly at the same time. My experience with hockey players tells me they're gentlemen, family men. I love the days watching my brothers play high school hockey in the 70s. Indeed, a great way to go through your adolescent years.
Yeah, well, those of us that play the game that long or watch it that long understand that. That's why this sport, even today, they have senior hockey, and they call it senior hockey championships, and they're usually in Tampa in April, and they get guys in their 80s competing. They have guys that come from all around the country and Canada to Tampa and play in it. And I got a number of friends in their late 70s, some in their 80s are playing, and they play a couple times a week. So it's something that I always said, the best thing about hockey is you can enjoy it the rest of your life if you consider, playing in these leagues or renting ice, just, Bloomington Ice Gardens, like some of these older groups do. And it used to be, a couple groups of guys that always got together. Now, unfortunately, a lot of them gone, but they continue to do it.
Dan, can you please write a biography about Louis' amazing life? You likely have hundreds of conversations you could pull from. His stories and impact on the game of hockey never cease to amaze me. Think about it. That's Holly from Minnetrista. You've already written that book.
Yeah, 2 of them.
You've written a couple of them, right?
Yeah,
I don't think, although you probably have, I don't think you want to do any more books, but
no.
You probably have enough stories you could.
Yeah.
That you didn't get to, believe it or not, in the first 2.
Well, what happens is if you're going to do it, and say I was to do it with someone like you, like I did with Bob Showers, I did with Jim Bruton, you want to make sure they're successful too. So to do that, then I got to go around and sell them all, make all these appearances.
But you loved. You loved that.
Yeah. I love to do it. I did enough of them. That was.
Didn't we one of your books? Didn't we do an appearance? Didn't you do an appearance with us at a now gone downtown Minneapolis Barnes and Noble? Didn't we do it once there?
We did the show there.
We did the show there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We broke Harry Potter's record that day. Remember? It was 4 hours with the people around the building with the tops, and
that's tremendous.
That's when my good friend Sid.
That's where I was going. Sid was bitter.
Well, Sid, you know what's funny? He's walking over, I think it was with Royce. He says, how many books do you think you're going to sell? You're going to sell any books? I'm not going to sell that many. And Patrick, who I ghostwrote, to clear it up when we did it, he said, I think he's going to do pretty good. So he gets there and Sid sees this, and we're there 4 hours. Remember that? And we're doing the whole show, and Sid is just beside himself how many books we sold. We sold over 8,000 books that day. And the funny thing about it was his book was upstairs there.
Yes.
And I'm signing autographs right by the stairway, and here he comes down the stairs with an armful of his books, and he would have put them right by the cashier where people are to check out to pay for our book. That was the best thing I've ever seen.
That was, how devastated was he? I mean, he was.
He couldn't believe it.
The look on his face. Yeah. I mean, it can't. I don't even think it can be possibly captured for sure. Yeah.
He couldn't believe. He kept checking with me. How many books he's selling? How many
years would that have been, Garzi?
It was Passion to Win, right? I think that was
the History and Memory of the.
Oh, okay. It was the other one. All right.
That was the first one.
That's 20 years
ago. Bob
ago?
Showers. Oh yeah, you know what?
Or longer.
I hate to say that.
No, I was there, so it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that Barnes & Noble doesn't even exist, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Did you at least get Sid a plate of Tino's food? Because I know he brought food to one of them. Did he at least get some Tupperware or something on the way out?
Oh, yeah.
That was fun.
It was great. That was an awesome day.
I'm trying to think of all the cool places we've done shows with you. The Rotunda, for sure. Or certainly you would help us with Toys for Tots when we were doing broadcasting for the Mall of America. You came several times there.
Yeah.
Lou would come to Maynard's.
Yeah, you would come to Maynard's. Yeah,
the cabin. I mean, the cabin's hard.
The cabin's hard to top. That's true. We did
especially when the rain came in and we had to move all the equipment inside.
That was so good. Yeah, the cabin was outstanding.
I got a good picture of Luigi taking a nap on his couch.
That's right.
For his turn.
Yeah. Waiting
it's a cabin day.
Gear it up again. Yeah, that's for sure. Maynard's. I'm forgetting some other exotic location.
Well, Kuwait, you did a show with them.
Yeah, we did the Kuwait thing.
Yeah, that was great.
That was fun. That was a great trip. That's absolutely a great trip.
Heck, they're taking missiles now. Good thing we're not there.
I know. That's crazy. It's a crazy world, man. Lastly, this is from 612 guy. How is there not a Lou Nanne statue anywhere in Minnesota? Where would Louis feel it would be most fitting given all his varied accomplishments? Amazing human being. Love these segments. That's from 612 guy. You're right. Why don't you have a statue?
I don't.
I mean, I know you don't care about that kind of stuff, but I mean, it's not the top of your list.
I don't.
It's got to be
well,
if there should be in the Delta Lounge, I think.
It'd be like.
Should it be in the Delta Lounge?
Like Lou Holt said, why do you got that up there? Just for the pigeons? You know, the best story I like about Lou Holtz is the story he said. He was in the first game of the season. He's got a new kicker, and the kicker missed 2 field goals. And Lou says, I walked over towards him. He says, and the guy says, Mr. Holtz, I know you're upset with me, but I get nervous, kicking in front of you. And Lou says, well, you better figure it out because I plan on being at every game.
How well did you know him when he was here?
Well,
did you get to know
pretty
him?
well. And the last time I went to Augusta to play, he took me to Augusta with Harvey McKay.
Oh, there you go.
It was fun, and that was really an experience because
I can imagine.
Yeah, he doesn't drink water. It's 95 degrees. He doesn't drink water. He drinks Diet Coke or Chardonnay. So I sent him a case of Chardonnay after I got home.
That's pretty good. That's quite a combination.
The last time you went to play Augusta, that's what you said?
Yeah. Last time.
Okay, got it.
Well,
just wanted to clarify.
He's very specific.
He's
very measured.
Yeah.
Louis doesn't need any statue here. He needs a sand sculpture created of him in Naples, Florida.
No, I'm in Palm Beach, the other side.
That's good.
I always bug my friends in Naples, which is not true because Naples is wonderful, but I always say the average age in Naples is deceased. I got to be around younger people. But Naples is beautiful.
How good is that? All right, so are you going straight to your place?
Yeah, I got to go home, pick up my wife,
first,
and then meet the kids at the Tavern 23. The patio is fantastic this time of the year, and we got so many good things on the menu. It's great.
Well, but you got to be prepared. The public might want to say hi to you tonight. You're okay with that? You're always okay with that.
I always do that. I usually, many times I walk around, greet all the people, and sign autographs, take pictures, whatever.
We've done the show from there too. We had that.
Yeah, we've done the show from there too.
Right. We did the anniversary show from there, among others.
Yeah.
We've done several from there. Yeah, 100% right. Well, happy birthday! Many, 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 many more.
Thank
you. We love you, as you know. We appreciate the time. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Great to be with you guys.
We'll talk soon.
Doc, one more time.
Pardon me?
On June the 2nd, happy birthday, Sweet Lou from the Sioux.
That's very nice. Thank you. Nice to have him and nice to hear it. Thanks,
my friend. Appreciate you. We'll break right now. Come back in just a couple minutes here in the Fan.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800 Ask Gary Traffic Center.
This report.
Your chance to win $2,500. Just enter the keyword Liberty at KFAN.com. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword Liberty, all part of the $250,000 cash contest. We're trying to give away $2,500 now. KFAN.com, keyword Liberty.
Garzi, how lucky are we in all seriousness? I don't get it too serious, but Louis is, honestly, what an asset, I swear to God. It just, you can never take it for granted, and sometimes you sort of do, and we've been doing it with him forever. I don't even know when it started. I mean, obviously, he was on occasionally with Chad and Barrero, but it wasn't, I don't recall it being regular all the time. And the fact that this many decades later, he can still surprise us with a new story or a twist of an old story, it's just
3 weeks in a row.
Contributor, just unbelievable.
It's good to have him in studio.
And contributor is the wrong word. Yeah, he's a friend, and you're right. There's nothing quite like the studio. That part of it's true. Earlier today, we had a Tice on, but it was Nate Tice, Mike's kid, who has developed into a significant NFL media presence. I mean, there's no question about it, regardless of the name. He's podcasting, writing, reporting, the whole bit, right? And I just noticed this text came in at about 4:42, two in a row. Let me read them. Traitor, LOL. I heard you had young Tice on today. His dad checking in. Then he wrote, we had a layover at MSP today, and the Vikings fans that got on the plane were talking about you and Nate Tice. I think Mike's jealous. I think he might be proud.
Yeah.
But he also might be a little jealous. We have not had Mike on a lot lately. Maybe we'll try to squeeze an appearance in as we get closer to training camp and football season.
They did a podcast together. They do podcasts during the draft. Nate has him on to talk about offensive linemen specifically. It's very good. It's very fun. It has to be fun for the two of them.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows offensive line play like Mike, so they were going down back and forth, all those different things. So that's great. We'll see you at a layover. That's good. I'm glad when news reaches them.
That's the affirmation we're looking for, correct?
Exactly right.
I also want to thank the excellent sponsor of the Luigi segment, once again, Kemp's, very loyal. We appreciate their continued contribution as part of the bit.
I think Louis is disappointed because he asked me today if we were going to have Kemp's ice cream for his birthday, when he came in here. I told him my plan was to just dunk him in Top the Tater. But she actually thought I think he's disappointed we didn't do that, but he's going to dinner.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Top the Tater is outstanding.
Well, I don't want to create like what's the word? A flood of people coming up to him at the restaurant tonight. But the cool thing about Louis is if you happen to be there on his birthday, he'll talk to you and he'll shake your hand and he'll take your picture. And we've had a million of those stories where somebody will tell us like 27 years ago they remember running into him in a clinic or something.
Right.
And how generous he was. And Louis has made a point of saying that's why he always felt that was important to do, because you never know. Ron Rosenbaum, the late great Ron Rosenbaum, used to be like that too. Is a feeling of, it might not be your day. You might be annoyed. You might be frustrated. You might be tired. But if it makes somebody else's day, and then they're going to remember it for a long time, you don't want them to remember you as the jackass, right?
Well, I think the one guy at Machinery Hill that flipped off Rosenbaum. So then Rosenbaum gave it back to him.
How good is that?
When we were doing the K-Talk, News Talk AM 1130 shows.
Through the glass.
One of my favorites. Yeah.
There's so many memories.
He walked up, flipped around the bird.
He did.
Didn't say a word, just kept walking. Ron gave it right back to him, and that was it. That was it.
And that location, as I recall it, there was glass.
Yes, we were in like a fishbowl.
It's very too sanitary. For me, it's too sanitized, right? You have to sort of be. You got to have the people in front of you. I
agree.
Right? Don't you?
Yes,
now,
I agree.
They don't have to be like plastered right in your face.
Right.
But you don't want a window there, I don't think. You know?
I didn't like it. It feels weird.
It felt very weird.
Yeah.
And you're right. That was, and I don't remember what he was mad at Ron about, but.
Could have been anything.
Could have been anything.
Yeah.
And Ron just responded with.
He loved it.
Pretty much the same thing. You know, that's one of the great, you can tell that story better than I. One of the great Maynard's memories was there was a day I was out, Maynard's Summer Stock Series.
Yeah.
And so the co-host, well, I don't know if they were co-hosts. Ron may have been hosting.
Yeah, Ron was hosting.
And he got Joe Friedberg to come out there with him.
That was a nightmare for me.
And were you there or were you back here having to monitor?
There.
Okay.
I was there. That's why it was bad. Remember, who did we have on? Ken Patera? At training camp to talk about Hulk Hogan, and he kept swearing, and Blakemore was dying back here.
He thought it was over.
You still can't joke about it with Brett. He's still mad about it. He's mad at us. That was me. Not quite as bad, but that was me as Ron threw it to break with Friedberg there. They're both drinking, by the way. They both got their drinks. They're smoking cigars, which is fine. Like, I don't think we're technically supposed to do that. I know I've never had a beer or a mixed drink while we're on the air.
I certainly never have had a Bartles and James cooler.
Even though there's no better spot to do it than Maynard's on a Friday afternoon.
It's true.
That was the best part of the bit. I only got to do that one summer. I thought when I joined Bumper to Bumper, I was going to get like a decade run of Maynard's like you'd had before. I got 1 year, a couple of gift cards, and it's great, which is fine. Now we both live there. But they go to break, but the board op, I don't remember who it was, didn't fire the break.
Yes.
Well, Ron didn't realize it or just didn't care. And then Ron and Joe just continued whatever conversation they were having. Can you imagine a worse pairing?
No.
Unfiltered, not thinking they're on the radio than Ron and Joe.
No. Because they spur. Separately, they're dangerous.
Yes.
But together, spurring each other on.
With drinking.
It could be fireable.
Yes.
100%. Yeah.
And that was literally like my first 2 months working on the show.
Oh, my God.
I think I've made it. Bumper to bumper, afternoon drive. This is great. My dad's still not quite on your side at that point. He's still kind of down on you.
Yes.
But we're working through all of that. And I'm thinking, I'm going to lose my job because of Rosenbaum and Friedberg at Maynard's on a Friday because they say something. Because those two go right to the line when the mics are on.
Yes.
That was the beauty of them.
Yes.
So when they're off, you can imagine. Yeah, that was bad. That wasn't good.
Well, we had, we were talking about Marbury yesterday and again a little bit today. One of the infamous Marbury interviews, I was doing a show. I don't know if this would have been Chad and Barrero and he wasn't there or if it was just me. I don't even know what period this is, but it happened to be, I think he was either in town or he was hawking one of those new sneakers, new then. And we got him on. And it started affably and then it degenerated. Because I admit I wouldn't let go of Steph. Do you have any regrets about it? He just could have been everything here, and he didn't want to hear it, obviously.
Right.
And it turned into not a massive argument, but a bit of a debate played. And we just happened that day for whatever reason. It was on a Friday, so we were doing it from Maynard's, and of course that's where we got reacquainted with Mace. That's probably the most famous Maynard's moment.
Yep. Because
that reestablished the relationship. That's carried on. We think it's going to continue this year, although I don't know.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we've had some interesting ones over the years.
This is from Kevin in Eden Prairie. Hold on. Let me see if I can scroll down here. I didn't catch all of Louis. I really do. He sounds so humble and calm and relaxed, like he's an average Joe. Got a list of accomplishments and accolades that could make multiple lifetimes full of joy and happiness. I've never met the man. Perhaps someday I will have the pleasure. From a fan of the fan, happy birthday, Louis. You are one of one, and you are loved by too many to count. A lot of good happy birthday greetings coming into Luigi if he happens to be listening on his way to, I think, first meeting up with the family and then heading to his place, right? Tavern 23 for his big birthday celebration tonight. Let's get a pause in, get back on some schedule, a schedule. I've got a couple of A-section follow-ups to yesterday's discussion, and who knows what else the rest of the way. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
Keep listening for the next chance to win your way to our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
I want to delve a little deeper into an A-section story we explored yesterday, having to do with the moment of silence, the tribute for Derek Chauvin. This was at the Minnesota State Republican Convention, and maybe attempt to give some context to said madness. I'm looking at the Star Tribune effort to sort of put the story in some kind of perspective in terms of how it got there exactly. They write that it came at the request of first of all, it was not planned by party leaders, but that came at the request of one of the roughly 2,300 delegates as the convention work began early Saturday morning. They note that any delegate has the right to make a motion during that part of the convention process, and that delegates offer hundreds throughout the weekend. They quote the state rep, Republican who chaired the convention, that he recommended against the motion, but his job is to facilitate the delegates' work and that he cannot unilaterally block it. But this was the bigger indictment to me, because, again, the idea, you're not responsible for one chumbalone capable of, making that kind of suggestion, right? You're not. I mean, we can play that purity test game, but you're not. But according to this story, the motion passed on a voice vote after Danny, is it pronounced Nadeau? Nadeau. That is the Rogers Republican who chaired the convention. After he asked the crowd if they, quote, would like to have a short 30 seconds stand in silence for Derek Chauvin. That's the bigger indictment to me. Now, I guess if you follow what he's saying he's got no choice to do what he's going to do. What you'd hope is that enough people would say, do we want to give ourselves a chance to win or not? How about a voice vote on that? And if the answer is we do want to have a chance to win, we're not going to have standing in silence 30 seconds for Derek Chauvin. We're not going to do it. Even if it might make this one person feel better, and we'll troll the lefties and we'll drive them crazy, etc. The actual moment, they write, lasted fewer than 10 seconds before he clanged the gavel. Some Republicans were uncomfortable with the episode while others supported it. So the follow-up is, and this is again why it's so, leaving aside again the morality of it, it's so stupid politically. It can go away pretty fast in this cycle we're in if you're capable of answering a direct question, which is, guys, gals, I got a lot of problem with some of the lefties. I got a problem with the way they treat police in general. I got a lot of problems with those who say defund the police. But I got to tell you, we got no business having a moment of silence or 30 seconds of silence or whatever for Derek Chauvin. Period. End of story. If I had been there, I would have been incredibly uncomfortable with it. And they're really, that seems to be the issue, is that there's not enough, not even the big names, willing to just come out and say that. Because I think it could kill it pretty fast if you do it. It's going to continue to have legs because there's been so much hemming and hawing. And what I mentioned yesterday, an old-time Republican must have been listening, because he seemed to agree that I think the comment he picked up on of mine was like, you can't possibly want to win anything if that's what you're doing, even if it's ceremonial and even if it's just for a second. But in that same category, I read somebody out in Colorado. Colorado's another state where these days it's pretty hard for Republicans to win. And in that vein, I don't know the individual who sent this, but in that vein, same category, you can't possibly want to win anything at the state level in a state where it's tough to win, when you have a guy named Victor Marx, who is classified as the Republican frontrunner for California governor, who apparently performs exorcisms where he says he commands demons and casts them off of people. He calls the practice the secret sauce of his $7 million a year ministry. Same principle applies. You can't complain about not having a chance to win in a Democratic state if the front runner for governor of the state volunteers, stands behind that he performs exorcisms where he commands demons and casts them off of people. Are you giving yourself a reasonable chance? Are you to be taken seriously as a party if that's the approach that you're attempting to take? I would submit no.
Depends on how high you are. You said Colorado, right? Maybe that's what they're banking on.
Maybe that's what they're banking on. I don't know.
Who they're seeing, the demons that they're feeling.
It's amazing. One other item, this was not covered yesterday. I noticed this piece in theatlantic.com, and it has to do with, have we talked much about this Graham Plattner character? Graham Plattner?
I don't think so.
Graham Plattner. He's basically hoping, he's trying to unseat Susan Collins, Senator Susan Collins in Maine, right? And the debate that's broken out of the Democratic Party because of some unusual aspects to the Plattner profile and a tattoo, whether we should be, because of his age and because he's almost like a take no prisoners guy, like the righties do a good job of bringing into their party. Well, you know what? Maybe we got to do a little bit more of that. Well, who's the writer of this piece, lays it out very nicely, Mike Nelson, suggests there should be no finessing on this either. There should be no finessing. Plattner, he describes as the 41-year-old Democrat hoping to unseat Susan Collins, a unique personal story, having reinvented himself from high-born prep school student to blue-collar oyster farmer, and from willing Marine who talked about wanting to go to war to kill people, to a victim of Collins' vote to authorize the Iraq war. And he notes, although Plattner is by no means the first politician to reshape his personal narrative during a campaign, he is likely the first to attempt an innocent explanation for having had for 18 years a tattoo of a, hope I can pronounce this right, Totenkopf, the insignia of the SS, the most dedicated and fanatical component of the Third Reich, whose members were the architects and executioners of something called the Final Solution. Plattner has insisted that tattoo has become a big part of the debate. Plattner has said he got the tattoo while carousing with other young Marines in Croatia, that he thought of it as simply a skull and crossbones that looked cool, and he was horrified when he learned of its significance, got the image covered up once it became public. But CNN has found evidence suggesting he was aware of its significance for years and had spoken with an acquaintance about it. His former political director also made comments to the same effect. As the writer points out, what's most incredible is not that Plattner would attempt to spin something that is obviously disqualifying, it's that the leaders of his party are accepting the spin. One by one, Democratic politicians have lined up to campaign with Plattner or post messages of support. The Pod Save America hosts, former officials in the Obama administration, have gone on a campaign to deride anyone who expresses concern over the tattoo. Here's the key sentence, or sentences. Democrats once pointed to every example of the OK hand signal as ironclad evidence of white supremacism. They cannot suddenly be just fine with Nazi logos. He writes, I feel confident in stating that Elizabeth Warren, Seth Moulton, or the Pod Save America crew, or any other Democrat currently defending Plattner, would be entirely unsympathetic to a Republican candidate with a Nazi tattoo. That's the nub of it. That's the story. We can have the discussion and arguments about appearance and when, we make too much out of whatever the case may be. There would be no negotiation. There would be no asterisk for any Republican who had this same symbol tattooed on his body. Period. End of this whole story. So it's silly, I think, to even try to have the discussion in terms of whether it's disqualifying. Fine. That's disqualifying. I don't care anything else about him. I don't care if it was a mistake when he did, whatever the case may be. If there was consistency with that, if I could believe that that the same Democrats who are standing tall for him or saying calm down would have the ability with somebody who didn't represent their party, we might have a conversation about how far we go, because we talked about that. Do you remember those stories?
Oh, yeah.
The okay hand. We had people who were like losing their jobs over the being followed about, did you see that okay signal out the car?
Right.
There's a guy in California who's like, what are you talking about?
Or a basketball player that made a three and put the three fingers up.
That's preposterous.
Yeah, we just
stuff.
lost our mind.
So if that's the curve you're going to grade on, as preposterous as it is, then you can't be taken seriously as a party, no matter what else this guy does or doesn't represent. Or you certainly shouldn't be surprised that there are going to be fellow Democrats and independents and others who say, wait a minute, how can this be finessed in? How are you changing the rules because now it's convenient for you to say, that's surface sump. Well, he's spoken for that. It's a long time ago. What's the big deal? It's fraudulent, it's indefensible, and it's utterly and completely inconsistent with the mood that you have helped establish in the culture. So again, I don't know where he go. I have no idea what his chances are to win. I don't even know that it's relevant. But come on, people. I don't even, like I said, you have built your own record on it that I think leaves a lot of Democrats with no choice but to say, I can't. Not only can't I defend it, I won't defend it. Life's too short. We got other issues here. We're trying to win. I have no interest. The comeback is, he has a chance to win. So we have to decide what's more important. Right. And I did say earlier, do you want to win or not? I think it's a little sad and pathetic, though, if this is what you have to sell your soul for in order to win. To have to wrap yourself into a pretzel to somehow defend somebody who has an SS symbol on his body and has attempted from time to time, basically, to maybe talk his way out of it and maybe be way too cute about it, too. Top of the hour break. We'll come back and get into maybe a little bit about what Nate Tice had to say about both Vikings quarterbacks. If you're a Vikings fan, you're going to be very delighted in one case, maybe a little discouraged in the other. We'll explain next.
You're listening to Barrero on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Dean's Home.
More Lou Nanne history, according to a source who should remain nameless, who would have knowledge of things that happened way back then. Louis, he says, became a regular in 94, 95. So this was obviously Chad Barrero days. And that Herb Brooks was a regular with Mike Woodley in those days, noon to 3. And this source claims Louis called and offered. Can't remember who was first, I think Louis, but they being Louis and Brooks, would jab at each other on calls with me. We paid them each like $50 or $75 a week. Herbie was always in studio. Both came with sponsors. I think Piper was Louis. Herbie had a competing financial firm. It was classic. I don't remember. Maybe we'll talk to Louis about that. Because, Louis, he does have a lot of friendly rivalries.
Big time.
With people. And I'm sure there were several with Herb Brooks, too, for sure.
That's why Louis is the best, because of the bleep talking. You can make fun of him, and he's going to make fun of himself, and he's going to make fun of the other people. He loves it. He loves the banter. So, half the time we have him on, and Mace is in here, we make those two go at it for a little while, right?
Yeah, it's true.
That's the beauty of it, and those guys love each other.
Well, I will say this. What I learned, somebody mentioned the trip to Kuwait. And I went on that trip with Louis. It was a Hockey Day Minnesota bit, right? And it was Herbie's brother who was there, too. And then who else was on that trip?
Tom Reed probably was
on
right?
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Tom Reed, Jamie Hirsch was on there.
I will tell you, The
Shane
stories
Hudella.
that I just listened to and the verbal brawling and elbowing and cheap shotting
Yes.
that those three did amongst themselves was legendary.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, is what it was.
Those are the best friends.
I mean, that's. I mean, and obviously they go way back. Let's see where we are here. I've been following this story concerning Platt. The question is, has he truly reconciled his previous actions? What does someone need to do to be forgiven or demonstrate contrition? It's a fair question, but it misses the point. Because the answer to that question, if it involved a Republican, is by many of the same Democrats who are trying to stand by their guy, is nothing.
Nothing they can do.
There's nothing. There would not be a possibility. That's the problem. That's the fly in the ointment, so to speak. Tony from Grand Rapids. Dan, can we please not be so stupid to think that all conservatives feel that this is a good idea because it's the GOP convention, please? I don't think anybody said on this show, yesterday or today, that this means all conservatives think this is a good idea. But be fair, Tony. It's the state convention, the party's state convention. Presumably, it has, at least in theory, weight, right? And most, I think, even conservatives, I would say, are savvy enough to know that if you decide this is worth implementing at a state gathering, people are going to notice. Independents are going to notice. They don't have to think that it represents everybody, but they say, are you serious? Really? What does this say about where the mindset is about as a group? Doesn't even necessarily mean you all have to endorse the position, but this wasn't like an off-campus party of like 7 Republicans. This was the officially sanctioned event, right? And you're being naive if you don't think there should be some understanding on that particular issue, that if even for that minute or two, that's the moment where you act like you're taking some kind of, you thought it was worthy, or you on the voice vote, enough people said, yeah, let's do it, yeah, that people aren't going to notice. I just don't think I think you're being naive if you cannot understand that, just as I'm saying about, to me, on the Plattner thing. The point is, he may be completely, he may have been contrite, he may have proven on the basis of years and years of other things that he has said and attempted to legislate or wants to legislate, that isn't who he is. But we have no consistency on that issue. And frankly, based on some of the reporting I've seen, even CNN, among others, have said, he's been a little bit too cute with it for us. And there's evidence to that effect. So we're back to what's the price you want to pay? And if this is a price you're going to pay, do you lose a little bit of the high road when it comes to determining, you can come back from anything, or no, some things are and should be rather non-negotiable. I had one more I wanted to get to here for our final break. Chauvin is pure evil. The moment of silence is beyond disgusting. That said, anyone who thinks he received a fair trial is lying to themselves. You can have that debate and that argument. I believe the outcome of that trial, based on the evidence, was just. He ended up pleading guilty, I think, to some federal charges as well, which is another story. But we can have all that. You can have all that discussion. That's still, I think, a long way from moment of silence. I still shake my head in wonder, although it was good to learn a little bit more about, well, it sounds as if, according to the reporting, there was one person.
Right.
That's not a majority. That's one person. But it also seemed like there's a mechanism whereby, and maybe it's unprecedented to reject it by voice vote. I don't know. But it's not serious. It tells me you're interested in performing. And a lot of politics is becoming that. And again, that's good. If that's all that interests you, is feeling good about your performance, have at it. But you're not going to get in a state that is bluer all the time, and certainly in many parts of it, maybe not so much outstate now. You're giving yourself even less of a chance among the people that you need to get to give yourself a chance to move forward, right? And to say, maybe we can steal this one. Maybe we got a chance at this one.
And just the responses to the questions, because a lot of officials that were at the convention.
Well, you read yesterday, the worst of it, frankly, was...
Well, Emmer was ridiculous.
Emmer, he was absurd.
Emmer was ridiculous, but there's somebody else, I can't remember who. There's been a laundry list of them where one guy says, well, I wasn't in the hall. I was on the other side.
It's not that tough.
I didn't hear it. I'm not really sure. And the question is, but do you agree that it should have been done? Well, I'm going to stay out of that one. Okay.
This isn't a hard one. And if it is a hard one for you, then people are going to respond to it and going to say, why are you being this gutless about it? There's a million things to go after the Democrats about. A million. I
don't think there's ever been more.
And exactly.
It's never been easier.
And so you're gonna even think it's worth what, because you got to know it's going to become an issue. It's the kind of symbolic thing that's going to become a big issue that's going to be used against you. So the answer to be is, look, let's talk. There's no excuse for it. It's a waste of our time. Has nothing to do with my issues that I have with a lot of Democrats. Let's get back to that. Get back to feeding our future. Well, you're sucking the oxygen out of the feeding our future thing if you give this oxygen and you give it life. And the life was given it by the decisions that were made on that occasion. Not my fault. It's no one else's fault. Everybody has a right to react to it. Let's come back and wrap up.
Bumper to bumper.
Show Wrap, brought to you by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
If we could summarize our conversation with Mike Tice's kid, Nate, during the first hour of the show, he has lost himself in Kyler Murray's eyes. He can't see the forest for the trees when it comes to J.J. McCarthy. As positive as he was on Kyler, he was very discouraging and discouraged as it pertains to J.J. McCarthy. We had a good discussion about the Vikings draft, about their new general manager, about his dad, Mike Tice. Podcastable and available to you. We chatted with him, I think, beginning about 3:20 today. Louis ended up coming in a little early. The birthday boy turned 85 years old today. And Louis joined about 4:30-ish. And we carried him all the way till about 5:40 or so, as I recall it. 5:30, right in that range. And we talked a lot. We got Louis to talk about a lot of life stuff. And then eventually we did get to some hockey. And he told us what he believes, looking back, is his proudest achievement in hockey. It's a hell of a story. I'm going to make you work for it. You're going to have to find it. But it's there, podcastable, downloadable.
It's funny that you say that, because in the podcast description, I wrote that exact same thing.
Did you? Yeah, perfect.
And Lou Nanne tells us what he thinks is what he's most proud of in hockey.
It might surprise you, but then the story that's related to it will make you laugh and chuckle, because it shows you again how many alleged big moments have started with almost bad theater, where you can't make up what led to that particular achievement or that particular resolution brought about by Luigi, and the fact that it almost didn't happen despite Louis' best efforts for reasons that he was not responsible for. So that'll be there for you later tonight. We do have, he did ultimately, I think he went back and forth like 4 times, but ultimately, didn't he pick Vegas? I think ultimately he picked Vegas.
I think that's right.
Game 1 tonight, right?
Immediately following us, right here on the Fan,
against
the pregame
Carolina.
show.
That's it. So immediately, not even any Fan on Man in the Air.
Go right to
straight
the pregame.
To the pregame. Game 1, WNBA Finals tomorrow night. I'm going to try I'm hoping we can get Crean this week. I don't know. Is there any chance tomorrow might be the day or unlikely?
Well, because we're very vague with Gleeman tomorrow, it's not
that's
the
right.
best day.
Okay, yeah, Gleeman's coming into studio tomorrow. Maybe I'll try for Sam. We'll see as another option for to actually preview the series itself. I'm assuming the Spurs are solid favorites. I assume not prohibitive. Or am I wrong?
I haven't even looked.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I got to believe they're favored to win. I think it has a chance to be a hell of a series. I'm fascinated by the matchup. I like that New York's in it. I do like the bigness of that. I'm not somebody who says I have to have it. I think that's silly too. But I think it's obviously they're the best team in the East.
Yes.
And it's a nice matchup. It's a nice contrast. They're a different kind of team. And I think Cat being there, I know it's painful for some people, but I think it makes me feel more connected to it, for sure.
Totally. I can't wait to watch Cat.
Yeah, how are they going to use him? Can he